Welcome in, beautiful people, and welcome to my January recap, where I am going to let you guys know how my year has started off in regards to reading. And if you can't tell by the stack I'm carrying, which doesn't even include all my reads for this month, January was a banger. January was a great month for reading. I had some really excellent reads, and I'm excited to share them with you. Let's get into it. At the end of the year, I finished the third book in the Zodiac Academy. I took a break though, rather than diving right into more of the Zodiac Academy. I read The Missing Half, a short kind of like mystery thriller regarding two surviving sisters that are not related, to two sisters who had been kidnapped and had gone missing 10 years prior. So, to clarify, the two surviving sisters and their sisters had gone missing 10 years ago. And really, it went over the lives that they've made for themselves 10 years after, goes over the impact that the disappearance of their respective sisters had on their lives. And ultimately, they end up coming together to research their sister's disappearance. I have to admit, I feel like I gave this book 4 stars. It was really good. It was exactly what I needed to break up my fae fantasies. It kept my attention. The twist at the end, the twist kept twisting. So I'm the kind of person that really likes to guess what's going to happen, and I did not guess that. I personally was really satisfied with the ending. It and I'm gonna leave it at that. Let me not spoil it. I definitely recommend 4 stars. It's not a super chunky book. If you want something that's a little bit different, but it definitely felt like it was a quicker pace. It kept me engaged in the dynamics, in the relationships of each individual sister in their lives, but then their dynamics as well was really, I enjoyed it. I'll leave that there. Next, I read The Watermoon. I really enjoyed this as well. I generously gave it a 5 star. While it's not a perfect book, I feel like it was exactly what I needed when I needed it. This story essentially follows a young woman taking over a family business. However, not just any family business. They live in more of like an alternate world where their family business is that they own a pawn shop, but instead of goods, people pawn regrets. And it was really good. So the story is following a young lady who essentially is passed over the business, but then her father disappears. And you follow her journey with trying to locate her father, trying to uncover more truths about her family and her mother, and the world and the service that she provides for her world. It was good. Watermoon by Samantha Soto Yambao. Sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly, but this was good. I do recommend. Next, I dived into Dark Fae, which is the first book in the Ruthless Boys series, which is one of the spin-offs for the Zodiac Academy. I really liked the Ruthless Boys book 1. That book was everything I needed. It put me back into the world. I had more context. It got a 5 star from me. I enjoyed the FMC. I enjoyed the bevy of main male characters, because why choose? I have to admit, I'm guilty. I love a reverse harem. Whew, they were doing their thing with this, and I appreciated them for every bit of it. But you were immediately invested. I didn't tell you what it's about. I really don't want to spoil too much. So this follows a young lady, Elise, who transfers schools to investigate her brother's murder. I was tempted to dive back into book 2, but I didn't. I took another break. Some of my girlfriends, they love them some Frida. I've tried a few Frida books. I think my favorite is The Housemaid 1. We'll pretend that there aren't others. I read Never Lie. I suffered through Never Lie. I didn't love it. I'm not going to go too far into it. I know this is the book that they're like, if you're unsure about Frida, go ahead and read this book because you're going to love it. And spoiler alert, I didn't love it. It got a 2-star for me. It started off good. I was a little confused on how it started. You know, it follows a couple randomly going to see this house that's for sale in the middle of a snowstorm, and they get shut in to this house. The house is supposed to be the former house of a psychiatrist who is now dead. Things that I really liked about the book. I really liked the composition of the book, meaning they gave us different perspectives. You had real time of the couple in the home. You had flashbacks of the therapist and her life, but she also gave us like tape recordings of some of her sessions. So you got to be transplanted into some of her therapy sessions with her clients. You got to be a part of some of the therapy sessions with her clients, which gave an eerie, it built the tension. It built the tension. So there was tension. I personally really didn't enjoy the ending. And that's where I'm going to leave it. I feel like it did not match. It did not make sense. I was not impressed. And this may be the last Frida that I read. Let me know what your favorite Frida read is that you think will renew my hope. The lowest rating I had for this month, it was a 2-star. I'm sad to say, never lie, didn't land for me. So I had to dust that off. Why I thought dusting that off with the Song of Achilles was the right thing to do, I'm just not sure. But that's what I read next, The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. Now, things to know about me is I love Greek mythology, but I also really love the lore of the lore of Troy and Achilles. I read the Iliad last year, and I plan to read the Odyssey this year, but I was a sucker. Come on now, I grew up in the age where we watched Brad Pitt be Achilles, and if y'all didn't love Troy, I don't know who hurt you. This book, it was very clear as to who hurt who. It was good, and it got a 4-star. I mean, I don't have a whole lot to say. I don't think it ranks on some of my favorite books. I think it was good for what it was. It was sad, but it was good. Next, I'm excited to talk about this next one. I'm excited. Can you tell I'm excited? I'm so excited because let me tell you, and let me be honest. See, I actually started these 2 books at the same time, and one just kind of took over. So I started Bad Bishop by L.J. Shin, and I started Does It Hurt by H.D. Carlton around the same time. This book I read physically. So Does It Hurt started off really good. I was really interested. Where is this going? Oh, you're a little sick and twisted. I was worried. How's it going to go? This woman meets a man, goes home with him, seduces him. Let me go back. It starts off with this woman fleeing to Australia. I believe she's in the States, and she flees to Australia for reasons unknown. She meets a guy. She has a one-night stand. Runs into this guy again. His feelings are hurt. It's hard to describe this book. Chance would have them running into each other again. They end up in a wreck and stranded on an island. A deserted island except for this one creepy old man. I'm not gonna lie. It follows my rules. I feel like romances should not be more than 400 pages. This book is about 403 pages, but it really only needed to be maybe 200 pages. I struggled to get through the last few hundred pages wondering why. Why is this happening? Why do I care? Are they ever going to get rescued from this island? Is somebody going to get chopped into pieces and win? I had really high hopes for it because it sounded all dark and twisty, and it just came back mid. So this one was 3 stars. I don't know if this rating is because of the book I was reading with it. So this one I was also listening to in an audiobook. Again, Bad Bishop by L.J. Shin. This might get my favorite book of the month because I got a new book zaddy, and his name is Tiernan. and I enjoyed every little bit of this book. I'm not normally a mafia type romance kind of girly. Let me tell you, LG Shen, she did her big one with this. And Tiernan is Zaddy. Tiernan is right now Zaddy of the year. Yes, this one is January, but you know, marriage of convenience or forced marriage. And what does the back say? Because I really don't want to. The back of the book reads, my innocence was ripped from me one fatal night under the starless sky, resulting in an unwanted teenage pregnancy and a secret the Camorra must bury. My father decided to hand me off to the highest bidder. The lucky winner, Tiernan Callahan, a psychopath extraordinaire. The Irish mafia prince wants me for all the wrong reasons. Alliance, money, prestige, war. I am but a pawn in the twisted game. The man who sits on a throne of his enemy's skulls thinks I'm a weakling. Little does he know, in this chess game, the underdog wins. Because the thing about bad bishop, they protect good pawn. I didn't even read the back of this book. I didn't even read the back of the book before, but like, that's the perfect back of the book. It doesn't spoil any of it, but it makes you want to read it, and I'm going to keep it at that. There are trigger warnings. Please read them. Me personally, I thought everything that might be triggering was done very tastefully, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. 5-star. Favorite read of the month. Okay, next. I feel like I read this out of like requirement. Next, I read First Time Caller. First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. I read a couple other B.K. Borison books last year. I attempted to pick this up last year. And you know what? This book wasn't horrible. It was really cute. It follows kind of a woman's search for love by way of a radio show, which it starts off, you know, her walking in on her daughter on the phone with a man at late at night. Turns out it's the radio host, and she's trying to get help. So starts kind of a series where she joins the radio show and is working towards finding a suitor in a world where, I mean, if you're single in the world, you know exactly how it is out here. Let's just be for real. Anyways, to be honest with you, I feel like the people who love this book love the last 20% of it. I'm not gonna lie. From 0 to 80, it was mid at best. But the last 20% of the book, I was here for it. This was a 3-star. The next book I hopped into was The Poppy War by R.F. This did get a 5-star rating for me. Following a young orphan girl named Rin, really trying to have a hand in her own fate. She's extremely poor, so that means that in this culture, you did not have a whole lot of options. She then takes it upon herself to try and get into this prestigious school so that she can be trained to be a fighter and have a say in where her life goes rather than be married off to some old man. This book, I'm so happy that I'm so happy I had the buildup of those romances before this, because this got a little bit dark. I'm not gonna spoil too much, but even starting with our form of birth control. Damn, girl. Like, whew. I felt that. It was a struggle of identity. It was a struggle for power. There was a struggle to find a place for yourself in the war. There was a struggle with drugs. Poppy. Opium. Should have been called the Opium Wars, but I know you get it. Poppy, opium, poppy. I know you get it. I know you get it. I know you're there. I know you're there with me. These characters were layered. They were deeply flawed. They had exceptional power, and it was a ride. It was very dark. I had to take a break. So I finished that, 5-star. I really enjoyed the Poppy War. I did not hop into the next book because I needed a break. What I did hop into next, We Had a Time. Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. Can I just say, this was so much fun. This one got a 5-star for me too. I know you're like, oh, is this the how many? Is this the 5th book she gave a 5-star to? Listen, when you're just getting back into reading and you have all these books on your list, I would hope that the books that you hyped up to read are 5 stars. I'm like, why would I start with the lame ones? About a teenager, Wade Watts, and his journey to try and win the ultimate reward after the creator of this virtual reality system dies. And in his death, he passes on like a hunt to own essentially his business. And it's been 4 years since the death, and all these kids are, and adults, the entire world is essentially trying to figure out these riddles so that he can win the competition and own the Oasis, which is what that world is called. They live in a world that reminds me of WALL-E. The Oasis provided an escape for them and an alternative universe where you could be anybody, look like anybody, could overcome your circumstances. It was exactly the boost I needed to read after the Poppy Wars that brought me so down. This one brought me so far up. The last book, well, the next book I'm going to talk about was Insatiable by Lee Rivers, part of The Edge of Darkness. I gave a 3-star. I don't know if I gave it a 3-star because it had been hyped up. I went in with high expectations, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if I set myself up for failure. Book 1 was solid. I gave it a 3-star. To be honest with you, it's hard to even describe what it's actually about because I feel like I was reading this book with questions. I wanted to know what happened because it drops us in as like this ex-couple navigate each other in similar circles, and they keep having to run into each other. They get into a forced proximity situation, and they keep alluding to their what happened, who you were, and I'm like, who were you? What did happen? Where's the tension? What's the story? Like, I need to understand. And they just kind of navigate their toxic relationship where he, of course, like a man, he has felt hurt and wronged by her. And she, of course, has not been heard by him. So we don't even have the full story. So nor do I. And I think that's why it got a 3 stars. I'm like, what happened? Sorry. You get a little bit of the background eventually, but not enough, obviously, because it's a trilogy. So I guess they're trying to like elongate it out. It did live on a cliffhanger. I will continue to read because I hear book 2 is great. It was dark and twisted, but I don't know if I just wanted to know more. You ever feel like you're in a group of like 3 people and 2 people, let's say they work together and they're talking about these people and they were there, they've known each other for years and they know everything that's going on, and it's almost like they have inside jokes, inside knowledge that you're not privy to. And that's how this book made me feel for far too long, to the point where it kept me reading because I wanted the answers, but I don't think that it fully satisfied my answers by the end of this book. It did not fully satisfy my answers by the end of this book. It just made me a little bit more frustrating, but I'm gonna keep reading because sometimes books frustrate me. Those are all of the completed books that I had for January. Again, 5-star reads, y'all. So good. So good. I'm going to give the crown to Bad Bishop at this time. That is who holds the crown for best book of the month. Least favorite book, obviously, that is Never Lie, because she was lying. I am also currently reading The Count of Monte Cristo, but I am working on a video specifically for that, and it's not finished. That is January 2026 in the books. I'm really excited for February. We'll see some continuations of some of the books that we read. I do really appreciate you watching until the end. If you have made it this far into the video, please drop a star in the chat because we were giving away 5 stars like they were candy this month, and I hope that continues. And I will see you on the next one. Thank you so much.